Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've been letting your camera make all the decisions in auto mode, you are absolutely missing out on the magic. So go ahead, grab your camera, or, just picture it in your hands for a second, because our main goal today is to take you from a total beginner to fully mastering your camera's manual mode. And we're going to do it in just 5 minutes. Seriously, we are going to completely transform how you look at your camera today.
So, are you intimidated by that little M dial? If you're nodding your head right now, trust me, you are certainly not alone. I totally want to validate that feeling. That little M on top of your camera? Yeah, it is historically terrifying for beginners. I mean, it literally looks like you need an advanced math degree or maybe decades of experience just to take a single photo. But today I'm giving you a completely foolproof method to just demystify it once and for all. Okay, here is our super quick roadmap for today. We'll start off by demystifying the M dial. Then, step 1, base your ISO. Step 2, choose your priority. Step 3, set the alternative. And finally, step 4, the dead center balance. It is a straight line to perfect photos.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, demystifying the M dial and conquering that camera fear.
Look, achieving a flawless exposure, it really isn't about complex math or playing guessing games. It simply comes down to 4 completely foolproof steps: ISO, priority, alternative, and balance. That's the whole shebang. Honestly, if you can count to 4, you can shoot in manual mode. It's really that simple.
Moving right along to step 1, base your ISO. This is all about setting your light foundation.
So, what is ISO? Well, it's the setting chosen based entirely on available light. Think of it kind of like putting sunglasses on your camera. Are you shooting outside on a bright, sunny beach at noon? Well, your ISO is going to be a low number, something like 100, because the camera actually needs those dark shades. But let's say you're shooting indoors at a dimly lit birthday party, you're going to take the sunglasses off and bump that ISO up to a much higher number, like 1600 or maybe 3200, just so the camera can soak up whatever limited light is actually in that room. The trick here is to not overthink it. You literally just look at your environment, set the ISO based strictly on the available light around you, and you move on. Just like that, step 1 is completely done.
Okay, on to step 2, choose your priority. This is your core creative choice.
This step is where we completely remove the mental heavy lifting of manual mode by framing your next move as a single, really simple decision. Option 1 is aperture. This is the setting that controls your depth of field. Think of aperture like the pupil of your eye. You know, it opens wide or squints to focus. And depth of field? That simply means how much of your photo is actually in focus. You have to ask yourself, do you want a beautiful portrait with this creamy, blurry background so your subject just really pops? Or do you want a sweeping landscape photo where everything from the grass right at your feet to the mountains miles away is incredibly sharp? That right there is your aperture priority. Aperture is simply the tool you use when managing that background blur, or your overall sharpness is your absolute main goal for the photo.
But what if background blur just isn't what you care about right now? Well, that brings us to your second option, shutter speed. Shutter speed is a setting that controls how motion is captured. You can kind of think of it like a blink. A fast shutter speed, that's a lightning fast blink that freezes a fast-moving dog mid-air right as it jumps for a frisbee. On the flip side, a slow shutter speed is like keeping your eyes open longer. It intentionally blurs the smooth, silky, continuous flow of a waterfall over time.
And this right here brings us to a really crucial mental shift: depth of field versus motion. I really want to emphasize that word, versus. This is so empowering because you literally just need to decide which of these two things is your main priority for the shot you are about to take. You don't pick both. You just look at your scene and ask yourself, hey, do I care more about making the background blurry, or do I care more about freezing that running dog? You just pick one and boom, you are completely done with step 2.
All right, making great time here. Step 3, set the alternative, completing the trio.
So let's take a quick second to summarize our journey and see how effortlessly we've arrived at this final stage. First, we based our ISO on available light. Second, we picked a priority, so either aperture or shutter speed. Now the third step is simply adjusting the alternative setting. Basically, if you chose aperture as your creative priority, your alternative leftover setting is shutter speed. But if you chose shutter speed as your priority, your leftover setting is aperture. You're going to use this leftover setting to actually control the overall brightness of your photo. But you're probably wondering, how do you know exactly where to turn the dial? Well, that brings us to step 4, the dead center balance. This is the camera's secret weapon.
This step is the massive aha moment where all of that beginner anxiety is just going to fully dissipate. Why? Because the camera itself actually steps in to help you finish the job. When you look through your camera's viewfinder, or even just look at the back screen, you're going to see an internal light meter. It looks exactly like a minus, a 0, and a plus. This little thing is the ultimate balancing tool. You literally do not have to guess if your photo is going to be too dark or too bright. If the indicator is hovering over the minus side, the camera is basically waving a flag warning you the photo will be too dark. If it's way over on the plus side, well, it's going to be too bright. I actually want to read this exact quote from our source material because honestly, it is the golden rule here. Balance the settings dead center for a flawless exposure. Remember that alternative setting we established back in step 3? Well, your only job now is to turn the dial for that alternative setting and simply watch the meter. You just shift that setting until this internal marker hits dead center right at the 0. And once that little tick mark is perfectly in the middle, you stop. That's it.
Just look at what we've accomplished together. 4 foolproof steps completed. The marker is dead center. Flawless exposure achieved. I really want to reassure you, by just following this straightforward checklist and hitting that dead center mark on your light meter, you have successfully mastered manual mode. No guessing, no crazy complicated math. In under 5 minutes, you've learned to set your foundation, make one core creative choice, and then let the camera tell you exactly how to finish the exposure perfectly. It's a real game changer.
Which leaves us with just one final, really exciting question. What will you go capture first? The mystery is completely gone. The intimidation? Gone. I highly encourage you to grab your camera immediately, turn that top dial right over to M, and put this demystified method to the test. Get out there and start creating.